So let's see what this Around the Verse is about. Let's check it out. Turn it up a little bit for you guys.
Some stories are worth watching. And every
This
journey has its
Haskaha
beginning.
dude, he's awesome. We're following each other on Twitter. This guy is like so cool. He posts like these amazing pictures of the verse.
It's a
and
quick
just
stop for
look at
some
this
fuel
guy.
and snacks.
He
We're out
should be
beyond
working
that
for
asteroid
SIG.
belt. Wherever you go, you'll find moments to stare.
Oh, look at that. So unbelievably beautiful. This guy does such a good job with this.
Beautiful. Efficient.
Such a good job, dude. Like, this guy gets the
Just
craziest
enough
shots
teeth
in game,
to get you
dude.
through a scrape.
I'm gonna talk with him and see how he's doing this type of stuff, man. Because he's got great camera angles. Like, the way he gets like shots in the game is dead on good.
Let me introduce to you Consolidated Outland's newly redesigned 2948 Mustang Beta. More than a ship, a partner.
See, I love that. I love the
Consolidated
faces. A lot of people like
Where
mixed
risk meets
reviews about the
reward.
faces, but I absolutely love
We
it.
just saw the winning entry in our recent Consolidated Outland Mustang commercial contest.
Probably. I'll have to
Congratulations
ask
to the crew
Arcane.
that made
I'll
that
ask
pretty
him.
impressive ad.
Yeah, it was very impressive. There were some familiar names in the credits there, like Mr. Haskar. But you know what? Like the entries were actually really impressive. So I would definitely.
I'm gonna check
recommend
those out.
checking
Maybe we'll do
Not
that
just checking out
tomorrow.
the winning one, but the runners-up.
Hey,
and the
Hex,
other
what's going
entries
on,
too.
bro?
And
Welcome
there's
to
a
the
thread that
ATV
has them all
review,
in,
bro.
and,
Good to have you here, man.
The community-generated content is
Let me get this
awesome.
green screen over
So
here.
well done, everybody.
It is, and with that, we welcome you to another episode of
Professionalism.
Around the Verse. I'm Sandy Gardner.
And I'm Chris Roberts.
Today, we'll dig into some ongoing progress with Core Tech, but first, we're going to take a look at the state
wait
of
a
Alpha
second.
3.0.
Ongoing progress with Cortec. I think I just got excited in my no spot.
and some upcoming changes to the roadmap.
Yes, so we've got some good news and some bad news.
Okay, give me the good news first.
Uh-oh.
Okay, that's always much better. So Alpha 3.3 is going live tomorrow, which is really cool. And 3.35 with Hurston and Lawville part of it is coming to the PTU in short order as soon as we go live on 3.3. We had to get 3.3 out live to people before we could move the next sort of release into the PTU phase. So
I'm so mixed on
and
that.
people will be able to play, a nice stable 3.3, but also have explore Hurston, even if they're willing to put up with a few crashes in the PTU, and that all gets us closer to next thing up the list.
Well, that doesn't suck.
It kind of does a little bit, but here's the thing: it's like they do that all the time. The roadmap that they put out there, it's been like this for a long time, actually. Like it's gonna come out Q4 of 2018, 3.3. They're already like a month and a half behind that date, and then they could push certain features. The creep comes, and then they push those certain things back to like the next particular patch. They've been doing that for a year now, ever since the roadmap. I mean, like this is not a surprise to me.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's a little later than we wanted to be, but it's a lot of content.
It's a little later than we wanted to be.
The most important thing is the object-containing streaming technology is now stable enough for us to go live, and that's a big thing because we've been working on that for well over a year. And it's the sort of tech pillar that's going to allow us to scale
That's
the rest
good.
of the world.
That's good.
On
We
the
know
client
OCS is
side,
important.
On the technology side,
Right.
we're really happy.
Right.
That's sort of
Arcade.
passing a pretty big goalpost that we need to get past. It's
good to see you, bro.
Taken us
Thanks
obviously
for
longer
being
than
here,
we
man.
thought, and it's been a bit more complicated and difficult than we thought. But that is the case with that sort of R&D that you have to do, and there's so many, issues that go into it that we've already discussed. It's good to be done. Good to get that working.
Very cool. So what's the bad news then?
Okay, well, the bad news is some things are going to move out of 3.4 into
This is exactly what I
3.5.
was saying.
I think
Right.
people understand or are aware of the fact that 3.3 has been running late.
Okay, people are very aware that 3.3 was running late. Now he's telling us that things in 3.3 are going to be pushed to 3.4, and some of the things that are in 3.4 are going to be pushed to 3.5. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know. I mean, like, this is the usual kind of thing that happens, and at some point I wonder how this is going to be good. Like, it's got to be more concrete than this. It has to be more concrete than this. I hate to be a stickler, right? But it's got to be more concrete than this.
So it's been putting a lot of pressure on 3.4, and the biggest knock on, and this is probably not particularly apparent to people, is the fact that each one of our releases, when we make a 3.3 or a 3.2, comes from game dev, which is our main development stream. And so it tends to be both a combination of slightly unstable and also full of a whole bunch of content that you're not ready or you don't want to put in the current release. Instead of excluding things, because we've got so many things, we include things and say, okay, we want these things in this release. And so it takes a lot of time, you know, anywhere from, I think we've never done it shorter than 2 weeks, but it's more usually like 4 weeks, because we have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of files. You know, game dev itself is almost...
It's I feel like in a way though, and Hex, I feel like in a way, like when Chris is explaining this, and he uses hands a lot. I do too. I'm not gonna lie. I use my hands like all the time when I talk, so I get that. But like, it seems like how he's explaining this in a way is he's explaining to Sandy, and Sandy is like us listening to him. Like, look at Sandy's face right now. She's like, she's like, I don't know if I believe all that, Chris. I don't know. You know, maybe this game would be done if you stopped adding details and things that you wanted into the inclusions that you always do. Like, doesn't it seem like her faces sometimes she makes? She's like, will this game ever get done? I sure would like to get my money right now. You know, like, I feel like Sandy's like, Chris, get this game done.
Almost 2 terabytes of just the data set of game dev itself. And that's not just the archive stuff, that's like the actual working set. So most people actually only have a small portion of it, depending on what area they're working on. So we have to make sure that the right ones are going across, and there's only the stuff that you need for 3.3, which then also takes time to stabilize. So if we go back, after we get 3.3, back to game dev, and then try to stabilize it, and then also test it and get it out, everybody on the development side, and this was something that came up you know, just this week, essentially have said it's going to put us in risk of releasing 3.4 by the end of this year. So we still want to be date driven when we can, when we're not waiting for some tech pillar. And so we made the hard decision to
all right, the biggest tech pillars obviously were OCS, and OCS is out. The next tech pillar obviously is the network bind culling, the network meshing that they have to do so that we can have so many people playing on one instance. Those are the 2 big hurdles. OCS seems like it's done with. We don't know as we continue forward if the additional assets that they add into the game will affect load times and there thus affect also frame rates. We're not quite sure, but we know that OCS right now is keeping it stable. Network bind culling and meshing that's going to be coming out in the future, making it possible, is a big hurdle. We haven't heard anything about that yet. I'm curious to see where they're going to get on that. Those are the 2 big hurdles. One's already cleared with kind of a debate on whether, you know, going forward we're going to have issues. The other one's not even clear as to how far that they are yet. That's kind of, you know, the way that things are working right now.
basically stay in the 3.3 branch, which will become 3.4 once 3.3 and 3.3.5 is out, and then move the bits of content.
Hey Kelly, congrats on your new PC, girl.
From game dev. That means that we can't move everything that we were planning to have for 3.4, and some stuff is a bit of a bridge too far. So we're going to lose some.
So what are these things that are being pushed out?
I like that. I like that Sandy's doing that. Sandy's putting them on task. I'm giving props to Sandy on that because like she's like, I'm gonna put you to task right now. That was awesome.
Okay. Well, I was just saying that. So some of the things we can move from game dev, and some of the things we can't. Now we're going to have the Hurston Business District in 3.4. So we're making sure that's going to be in and polished. We're going to do a lot more work and improvements on the FOIP and the VoIP stuff. the other ships.
I think the FOIP can be weighted. The face technology can be put on the back burner for now, at least. I don't think that should be a priority. I honestly think that the priority should be the network bind mesh, the meshing, the bind culling, the thing that's going to allow us to be in one instance at all at the same time with hundreds of people at the same time. That seems a little bit more important and should be more of a focus than the FOIP is. Yes, thank you so much, Kelly. I've shaped my soul patch into a much more triangular pattern. Thank you for noticing, Kelly.
Scheduled for coming in for 3-4 will be.
It was Zoe's
3-4
birthday,
as well,
by the way,
it's
today,
much easier
Kelly.
to bring a ship or a weapon or an item or a gun.
Had a good time.
But you'll know in the roadmap that's going to be updated tomorrow what has moved and what hasn't moved. So
all right, the roadmap's going to be updated tomorrow, so we'll look at that tomorrow.
Player character, because that touches a massive amount of stuff.
But why is it so hard for me to get my female character that I want?
It's not just the fact that there's.
That is a great question. Sandy, is this scripted? I feel like this might be scripted a little bit, but Sandy's really hitting on point tonight. She is being the perfect kind of counterpoint to Chris's talk. And this is what I like. I like that Sandy stepped up, and I like that she's doing this. I don't know if it's scripted or not, but I'm liking what Sandy is doing right now. This should be more the format of the show. You guys, I know you're watching. Sometimes I think you do. I'm liking it. I'm liking this. This is what I'm liking. More of this. I like it. Okay, have fun, Kelly. Go do stuff on your new computer. I know Kelly can only handle so much of this at a time. This is her thing. She likes to play Jackbox Party and all that.
If you got different length arms.
We'll play Jackbox Party again, I promise.
Female skeleton is 5'8", and the male skeleton is 6 foot. So we have to have solutions for the female getting into cockpits and not having that hands hyperextended or the legs hyperextended. So there's some tech that comes in there. There's some stuff that happens in the character customizer. Clothes are another issue. So there's a huge amount. It touches a massive amount of departments, and it's a lot of work. And people have been working on it for quite a while. So it's not something that we just started. It just is in game dev and not in a position to bring it into the 3.3 stream. The other one is ArcCorp. ArcCorp has a whole bunch of planet
I want ArcCorp back. I miss going to ArcCorp.
We have some
the
shader
shell
work
of
we've
what
done
was
for the new city
ArcCorp. I
stuff
miss
that's
that.
sitting in game dev, so we can't get that across, which kind of stops it, and LODs for the cities and stuff, so we can't bring that across. And also, it's just ArcCorp's big, and we want to take the time to do it right.
Yeah, ArcCorp's pretty big.
And that's okay, because ArcCorp itself probably, we've been compressed by how long 3.3's taken, so it'd be nice to really make sure that's well. But those are the two sort of big headline ones. On a ship basis, we're in pretty good shape on all the ships, except the 300 series has sort of run up right against the end of the year, and that's not including things like the LODs and the setups for the damage states and stuff like that, and the variants. So he sort of made the decision to move that out to 3.5 to give him time to finish
that makes
all that
sense.
properly.
That actually makes sense.
But those are the sort of big headline ones that have moved out.
But making this decision, why now? Why am I hearing about it now? Why do you make these decisions? It seems late.
This is wait. This is great. This is great. I don't think this is scripted in any form or fashion. I think she came to play hardball with Chris tonight. I like the little interaction here between these two. It's great.
Feels to me, but
well, yeah. I mean, this came. We had, we do our Monday morning leadership meetings, and in the most recent meeting. Basically, production came back, crunched the numbers, and said, "Look,
of course he is a huge nerd. He's a game developer.
Go from game dev into 3.4, based on if we come into the worst case scenario and it takes us 4 weeks to stabilize that.
I appreciate his nerdy
no time
side,
to
man.
get testing and PTU and Evocati and be out for December 20th. So basically, everyone came back on the development side and said, "Look, if we do this, we'll be in grave risk of missing." A 3.4 release at the end of the year on December 20th.
right.
So
it's either no 3.4 for me or 3.4 light.
Yes.
I love finding these things out.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one. But we're a big company, and there's a lot of things going on, we have better tools now to look at how long it takes us and estimate trajectories and make decisions in soon enough time to, not have everything. Like, for instance, miss getting out a 3.4 at the end of the year.
So is there any silver lining in my bad news?
Well, I don't know if there's a silver lining other than you know, I mean, we're working.
You two are
on all
pretty
these
frisky
things,
with each
right?
other
So,
tonight.
You know, we try to share everything as it happens live. So really, the proper answer on like why is it so late is because you're basically learning out within a week of us deciding that and coming to that realization. It's not something we've been sitting on for months.
Yeah, that's his wife.
You know, we were hoping and projecting to get 3.3 stable and out weeks ago, and we haven't. It's taken a little
being
time.
frisky.
But it's worth it
feel
because 3.3, and this is one of the reasons why we sort of deviated slightly from the date-driven model.
I think you know, personally, like the longer they talk about it, I think it's bad. Like, you know, like just even watching this with some of the people that are watching with me now, I could see that I lost a viewer or two because like I feel like when they start talking this way, it just kind of feels like they're bogging it down and things become slow and people don't want to hear it and they want that hype and they want it to be like done right away. So like if they don't hear it, what ends up happening is that people start to kind of go, so like they need to kind of definitely you know, get out of this talk right now, because all that we're hearing right now is that there's going to be postponements and nobody likes to hear that in any form or fashion, even though they're making it a little bit frisky and fun. Good for them.
Because object container streaming is foundational.
Object container streaming, OCS is great. That was major that they got that done.
Detail and fidelity.
Props to them for doing that
on a sort of universal scale, and we have to get that working, or else you just won't be able to load all this extra content in, whether it's hardcore.
What's wrong with this
Microtech or another star system. You also won't be able to have it perform well if everything has to be loaded into memory. So, you know, people.
I can't talk though. I do the same thing when I talk. I use my hands like all the time. That's the Italian in me.
Which are two critical parts to make it work. And once we have it done, and we're almost there. We're like just about ready to, you know, we're at the goalpost in a sense.
So you're still working on everything. But I thought you guys were working on some, like making the game dev more efficient.
Well, our goal is with game dev is that we're going to quarantine it, and we're going to have some downstream development streams that people do their feature development in. And so what will happen if that's the case is they'll develop a feature in the feature stream, and then once it's done, it will get reviewed, and then once we say, okay, this looks good, it will go through what's called a QATR, which is a QA test request, and we'll get fully tested.
It would be unbelievably. I mean, like, and I don't like to get into his corner too much. I think he's a great dude, but like, it has been a long time for this coming, and so like when I'm going to defend Chris here and just say one thing, it would be a monumental task to have to deal with the amount of processes involved in getting this product out, in which every single day it seems as if there is something added. Every single day there's a new obstacle, and then you're dealing with multiple groups working on these problems. It would be almost a nightmare. Like, I don't know how he can dealing with all of not just like the staff, but like imagine you're waking up as Chris Roberts, right? And you're thinking about you would always think about the next thing that you would have to complete. It would be like almost like this insane kind of marathon running in your head. Like, you've got the people like me making the content who are being critical, and you've got like people who are reporting, hey, this is taking too long. And then you've got the people working with it, or you're dealing with like a political structure. You're dealing with like so many people and their attitudes. And it would be a very kind of nightmare scenario to have to live through. So like, I am giving Chris a bit of props to have to go through this process, but he does put a lot of this on himself too, because he does add a lot of detail that I think maybe doesn't need to be in the game at certain points of time, you know? So I don't know, just a thought from the top of my head.
Is it stable? Does it work well? Does it hurt performance? And if it doesn't, but if it is stable and doesn't hurt performance and it all works well, then it gets put into game dev. So we're only going to put things into game dev that are working.
Yeah, like you're saying, Arcane, like this is a type of like game where we're looking at development from the inside out. We've never really looked at game development like this before. this has been said a few times on my channel, and I'll say it a few other times, is like we really never have been looking at this from the inside out like we are now in history of game development. This is brand new to everybody. And so like this process is we're all living it together. Hey, what's going on, Dark? Welcome to the stream, dude. You know, so that's a very good comment. That's a very good comment, Arcane. Most devs already have APIs and engines pre-made. These guys are pretty much going around up. Yeah, I mean, and it's being watched. They're under a microscope. You're absolutely right, Arcane. Like, I would like to give a little bit of props to the people involved in the project, because it would not be an easy task to have to deal with something like this on the daily, especially because it's just out there for everybody to look at and scrutinize. It's not easy to do. So in their defense, I know I'm very critical, but I feel like I have to be for my audience. I feel like that's my responsibility to be critical and rational for the people that are actually interested in the game, because I want to protect them as well as I want to give them actual information and opinions based upon what I'm researching, what I'm kind of you know, looking at. And so like, you know, there's this is a new way in which games are being developed. And it's a project in which kind of we all are involved in, and it gets to the point where we really are invested emotionally, and we talk about that on the channel as well. Oh shit! Did the stream die? Okay, no, you okay? All right.
Polished,
all right,
which will mean the game dev itself will be a lot more stable, and therefore it'll have several benefits. One, people like artists who are always at the mercy of someone putting something unstable in game dev and crashing the editor, the next they get the editor tool and they want to like build an environment, it crashes because someone's got some other feature that's broken now. To be able to test these streams and have all these multiple, whether it's a release stream and a game development stream and a feature stream.
He's basically talking about, he's essentially saying, I am overloaded. I've got a lot to think about and work about. Sandy, leave me alone.
Tool that you download,
whatever you want to do has to be able to
take that.
Just leave me alone.
Short answer, folks.
This is the short answer.
So anyway,
this is great. This is
great.
This is actually one of my favorite ATV episodes in a long time, to see these two like this.
And we're planning to have this rolling out.
It's real. It's real.
So we're still working on all this stuff then?
Yes, we are most definitely working on all the stuff. Some other things that are in game dev, like the cloud tech, which we're extremely excited about.
I don't think it's a question if they're working on this stuff. We know they're really working on this stuff. It's if they're doing it effectively, I think.
Cool. Here's Jake and Jake Gainey to show us the current state of the cloud generation tool and its variable uses.
So this is the new volumetric tool that I've been working on for not too long now, and it's still in very early development. But the main focus of the tool is to help artists create volumetric clouds. And
okay, so we're going to talk about the volumetric clouds. We're getting into the volumetric clouds. I like that this is a little bit longer than the 10 minutes that we normally get into for the around the verse. They're getting a little bit more detail. I like the banter at the very beginning between Sandy and Chris. I thought that was nice. I think they should continue to do that. And I learned that like when Sandy is a little bit more provocative and she's asking questions that matter, like they're kind of pinpointed at Chris, it kind of makes them squirm a little bit, and that's kind of fun to watch. So I want a little bit more of that on my ATVs. Let's see what they're doing with the volumetric clouds here. This should be a little bit interesting. It deals with dynamic weather. We were talking about dynamic weather. We fought for dynamic weather on the channel 2 years ago. We wanted like actual weather from planets because of the size of them, the gravity, the position from the sun to the actual planetoid. We wanted all that, and people thought we were ridiculous to say that. 2 years ago we were fighting for that. 2 years ago we got it. And that's what I'm talking about when we're talking about the economy. We voice up about the economy. We tell people we want more of a player-driven economy. If there's enough people that do that, then Chris listens, and boom, the design starts to change, at least shift a little bit. We did it for Survivor. We did it for the survival aspect of it. We got a little bit of the survival gameplay we want, not all of it, but we got more than what was anticipated, what was slated. If we're loud enough in a nice civil manner, in a way in which people are like, I'm going to be open-minded and listen to it, then it actually does get listened to. You know, that's the thing about being civil, having a community that actually is open-minded, that listens to other people. This is a good thing. This is why I love you guys. Now let's watch this.
Gas clouds in much faster iterations that we have been in the past. So we can see here is a nice, relatively simple shape, and at this stage we just want the silhouette of the clouds. So we look at the borders here. This is our body and what we're going to start with, and by adding more geometry to it, with using the tool, doing this for you procedurally and automatically. We've gone from a really simple shape of the cloud into a much more traditional cloud that you would see with these nice soft edges here. This is the key thing that we've really been lacking in the past, and from there you can iterate on it really quickly,
that was
really
interesting.
fast, and now we're cutting down development from weeks and months to days and weeks. So moving on from there, we're now moving on to the L
Did you
system,
hear that? He said literally weeks and months. I mean, damn. But now they reduced it down to days and weeks, which I guess is much better than weeks and months. But like the fact that it's still even at the days and weeks stage is like, wow.
Or lines and splines. So we created this tool to help artists create the more organic look within the coil. We do that by using curl noise
that's
around
cool.
using the initial spline that you saw before to really add all these really intricate patterns and lines that just wasn't there, and something it's this iteration that really helps drive development.
That's pretty damn cool.
From that simple spline that we saw turning into something more intricate and more detailed, such as this here. We can see all these gaps within the clouds. We can see all of the fluffiness and
three-dimensional, man.
Really
Three-dimensional clouds.
That was done. If we look at the clouds now,
right,
it's
dude?
really hard edges.
Totally arcane.
It's
Totally,
no longer
dude.
a cloud. It's just.
I don't think people realize all the tech that they're building here. I mean, like the tech just from this game that is the tech, the lighting design that they've got is like just alone for gaming will revolutionize the game. The VoIP, they're bringing motion capture to the actual gamer sitting in the seat. Motion capture was stuff that they only did for actors with green screens in production studios, and they're literally bringing the mocap to the actual gamer sitting in the chair so that they can interact with other people, that is something that people don't talk about. That's fascinating. We're talking about the lighting design that they do, which is fascinating. Now we're talking about this volumetric clouds that literally look three-dimensional. You can see through them and they take up space. That's like really cool tech, man.
So as we can see from the demo, the tool is really quick at creating volumetrics with a lot of detail that just weren't able to in the past. And because it's so easy, designers can now show artists what they were talking about and what they envision, rather than telling artists what they're thinking. We're hoping that as development continues, we can take this tool into Max and Myers to allow artists to actually work in their native programs, rather than having to learn a whole new set of programs just to work on one new scene.
That's pretty damn cool.
So I'm just going to take you through how we normally approach setting up a space scene in the game. In Squadron 42, we've got various spacescapes to make. One challenge that we have is trying to create interest within space.
That is really.
As you can see from this is just a derelict location in the middle of space, and it's okay, but it's all you've really got is the derelict plus the star field. So we use technology called gas cloud, which uses volumetric VDB to create interest within those spaces. I'll just drop one of those into the engine and take you through how I would normally set up and approach one of these spaces.
They have a tool now
this is our volumetric
that literally
density.
takes everything that was just mentioned and they can design with it simply.
I'm just going to drop one of the stock kind of volumes that the VFX team have made in their tool into the scene, and kind of put this in place. And you can see, even though this is the kind of base VDB and
that would be the
got
base.
No color information or anything like that on it at the moment, it's already creating something quite interesting in the scene. Once we've placed this, we can then start to kind of play around with color, which I'll do now. Let's go for something more towards the kind of the orangey red.
They literally have a palette. They're painting the
also then play around with
three-dimensional
the depth of it as well.
volumetric cloud.
So you can have something which is a little bit more wispy and kind of vague, or then you can go for something which
I can't wait to see the comments on this. I'm curious. I think I'm going to get comments on this from people on the YouTube video where people are saying like, well, this is stuff that we see in other games as well. I'm just curious. I don't think so.
You can kind of place them how you want to, scale them up a little bit and create something quite interesting. And I'm just going to drop into the game now. show you how that feels to fly around.
So he's
So
flying
you can see straight away
around
we've
in
gone from
it.
something which is in the middle of open space, not much interest.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
something which feels
But
very
I don't.
cool.
I
You know,
think
as a player,
they're
this feels like a
fairly
cool
unique,
location to
Dark,
come
in the
find
fact
game.
of the
Here's just
implementation
two
of it.
examples of
I don't know. I'm not a
the
game
different results that
designer.
you could achieve with the same
I don't know,
technology
but that's
and the
pretty damn
same
cool
tools
watching
with the
this.
VFX guys
And this
have
dude
made.
flying around in it,
This is probably
also very
I
damn
would
cool.
say the more extreme end of the example. It's quite kind of dense and kind of volumetric, and this is more towards the kind of the coil. But then you can also do stuff which is a little bit softer, you know, more the Star Trek style nebula. It's you know, it's just
Yeah,
kind of covered in space.
yeah, that's exactly
And you can
right,
also then
Arcane.
do
I mean,
something
I
different,
feel
quite
that's
wacky
right,
results from
dude.
it
Like,
too. And this is all using the same
it
technology.
has
and you
like
can
a
see
depth and
from
a
just 3 different
clarity at the same
examples there how
time
you
to
can
it.
craft
Like,
pretty much free, quite.
it's a
kind
good
of
job they put the music to this while they're explaining this. Very Star
visual
Warsy.
space locations.
Wow, that looks pretty cool.
It does
Yeah,
look
no, it's
very
definitely cool. I mean, it's we were developing the tech first off for Squadron, but
Dude, they're
we're gonna
literally
use it
developing
extensively
tech,
through the
like
PU in a
new
lot of
tech,
different
like
situations. In fact, in some
3 or 4
situations,
new
just
techs
around a
with this
derelict or a
particular
small
game
asteroid that you may not
in
even
the
think.
past couple
It's
years.
using the big volumetric cloud tech, but I'm looking forward to, because we're going to escape space, sort of almost like an environment.
Now, we were talking about money and revenue streams. This is something I didn't talk about that's just occurring to me right now. That, you know, maybe I'm going to change my stance a little bit on future videos when I start talking about ship sales being their only source of revenue, because we start to look at these types of things, and I'm an open-minded type of guy, and I start seeing these types of things, and I think, well, maybe it makes sense that these are other types of revenue streams, that they can sell this if they're going to license this technology to other game developers. That would be huge revenue for them. There are tools like that, but not to the scope of creating a mini universe, says Dark. Interesting. I love this. Thanks, guys, for joining me tonight. This is
Space
great.
weather. It's going to be cool.
All right, and that just about does it for us today.
Ah,
Tune
damn
in
it.
to Reverse the
I was
Verse
just-
live tomorrow.
I'm getting into
on
this. I
Twitch,
want
where
20 more
environmental
minutes.
Art director Ian Leyland will follow up on his team's various CitizenCon presentations and talk Loreville.
What
with
a
Jared.
roller coaster
Thanks,
ride
of
this
course,
one
to the
was, huh?
subscribers for sponsoring these shows.
Yeah, thanks to all subscribers, and also a huge thank you as well to the backers for supporting the development of Star Citizen and Squadron 42. We could not do it without you guys. And until next time, we will see you around the verse.
Oh my goodness, guys. I'm telling you what, thank you so much for joining me here today on this ATV review. This was great. I mean, honestly, I feel like this was like a roller coaster ride. Like I had some like moments. I was like excited, and all in all, like I don't know, man. Like I feel like this was one of those things where like it just took me all over the place, but I had a good time with you guys. Thanks so much for joining me here on this ATV review. I will be putting this on my YouTube channel, so go check it out, go comment there, go help out, go share the vid, and thanks for joining me live on the stream. That's where it's at. That's where we have fun. And I know this is a little bit later than we usually have it, so we didn't have as much activity tonight, so I really appreciate those that stuck around, that talked in the chat, and you know, you guys are the reason why I keep doing this. So thanks very much for joining me. I'd like to say happy birthday again to my daughter Zoe. I had a great day with her. It was a really fun day with my daughter, and I love you, honey. So I'll see you guys on the next stream or the next vid. Thanks for joining me here tonight. Always a pleasure, guys. Always a pleasure.